Just like its original counterpart, Wreckfest 2 has entered into early access, providing, for a discounted price, a slither of what the future game will offer. And with player feedback, it will iterate and improve over time to go towards the full version 1 release whenever that may be. Bugbear did this with the original Wreckfest, and I bought it when it was called Next Car Game, which shows how old A, that game is, but B, also, again, how old I am. And they did early access right, in my opinion, and so I'm really hopeful that we're going to do it right again. And what I really want to say up front is that whilst Wreckfest 2's content currently is quite slim, what you do get to experience is all the main elements of what this game is going to become, to show that it's a evolution rather than a revolution of what the Wreckfest series is becoming. So, what do you get as of the 21st of March 2025? Well, you start off with 4 cars. They all handle very similarly, but depending on this is my opinion, depending on how long the car is, depends on how much it fishtails, because where you're racing around loose debris and gravel and like dusty roads and mud and things like that, you're always slightly sliding around, and it doesn't feel like you're racing on ice. It's more grippy than ice, but it's always got that slight skid to it as you go around corners. And for me, what that meant as I was driving around on a gamepad is that I would fishtail out if I was a bit too power happy or brake happy coming into the corner, but then I'd also overcorrect and oversteer out and then have to fishtail back round the other way. But I got used to that as my driving style for the longer cars, whilst the shorter cars are a bit more point and squirty. It's subtle, but it does feel different across all of the cars, and I welcomed that and found it enjoyable and a challenge to kind of wrestle with. You get access to 4 areas with the game, and 2 of those have tracks that are more traditional, so like one's in a forest trail, one's in a scrapyard, and there's a forward and reverse version of the tracks. These tracks are littered with so much debris and so much things to crash into that what it does is show off a couple of things. A, that the AI is really intelligent and it's quite happy to race in packs relatively cleanly and fairly. But as soon as they get the sniff of wanting to kind of smash into someone and turn them around, they'll give it a go. And what this does is it then starts to dislodge some people away from the pack, and then when you're getting round to those kind of tighter 360 go around something and then blast out the other side and there's a crossover on the track, that's where all of those T-bones and big crashes start to happen. And is the physics glorious. But as you're racing around the tracks, because there's so much debris and objects ready for destruction around the track, just like the original, you get to experience the thrill and spills of just everything exploding everywhere, and it's very satisfying and engrossing and adrenaline pumping to play. The third area is a stadium area, which offers a traditional oval race, which again you can smash into everyone on, and then a figure of 8 track as well. And again, as the track crosses over, naturally you're going to get T-bones and massive hits everywhere. So this is the track where you get to experience a lot of the racing crashes that you might enjoy the most. So make use of that replay feature. I certainly did. And I just very much enjoyed the very retro feel of the stadium section. It also contained a Demolition Derby Bowl, and there's a second one in the 4th area as well, which I'll get to in a second. And what this showcased is the second event type, where you and the other 23 AI, or if you're taking it online, the other players, will all be smashing into each other, trying to score as many points as possible for like getting a T-bone or hitting head on or rear ramming or assisting someone being knocked out of the game or scoring KOs and knockouts. So you win based on how many of those that you do, and it's actually quite difficult to do because of how aggressive the AI are. And again, it shows just how intelligent they are too, because they will quite happily switch directions if they spot a weaker prey to go for. They don't all just like 23 go for you. They're all smashing into each other, barrel rolling everywhere, exploding, causing carnage and chaos. And what this area really focuses on is showing that AI intelligence, but also the damage model and just how individualistic each car part is for as it degrades. A really good example of this, and it was present in the original Wreckfest too, is like your radiator starts leaking fluid, which then causes you engine issues, which then might lead to a gearbox problem. If you've punctured a tyre, it will slowly ripple and go and cause you issues and vibrations. Then eventually it will roll off. And if you've got that with both your front tyres, you can't really steer properly anywhere. But it still feels like something that you could very slowly wrestle around. But you will be totally vulnerable to everyone just pile driving you. So you have to kind of think, right, reverse time, and then you start smashing at the rear. But the way how your car just dishevels or gets crush compacted together is a more extreme version of the original, and it's so satisfying to watch, especially in a world where we've got so many licensed games where no one would let their cars be damaged. This is the antithesis of it, and chef's kiss, so satisfying to play. That fourth area that I was mentioning that has a Demolition Derby bowl allows you to escape from it, and it puts you into a little physics playground. And this is almost like a little test area for Wreckfest 2 to show off its physics and damage. So there's like a cannon you can fire your car out of and watch it barrel roll and smash to bits. You can drive up like a car parking ramp and then drive off the edge into a little pachinko-y machine and like have it like smash down various different slots and fall out the bottom. There's like pushers and springs that will flip the car up into the air and cause all kinds of problems and carnage. You can smash through like massive areas of blue barrels so that you can watch them explode everywhere, and then flip it into replay mode and watch the carnage unfold. All that's missing from the replays is to borrow from Turbo Dismount and just pop on some like really slow playing opera or classical music in the background whilst you're watching it all like explode on you, because it is just so good and enjoyable to play. And that's all that there is. And I think this is where there's this debate about, it's a slither of the game, is it worth the hassle, blah, 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 blah. All of that was in single player mode. You can go online and servers are up and running for people to be able to play races and demolition derbies together. It ran quite smoothly when I was able to get online and join someone else's game. And I think one of the biggest takeaways from this early access is I ran into 0 bugs. I had no crashes. The game ran in a really strong performance on medium settings, which is what you're seeing across all of this. And being able to flip between modes meant that it felt seamless and really like a polished experience, which is quite often what you don't get in early access in exchange potentially for more content. So that's kind of where do you sit on this early access spectrum will maybe determine at what point you pick up Wreckfest 2. But whilst, yes, there's lots of things missing and there's very few tracks and very few cars, everything that's here makes me excited for where this game is going and what it's going to deliver. And that's the key crux for me. And so if that's enough for you, then go grab it whilst it's at 20% discount now on its discounted price, because it's a good early in. And just know that I think where it's talking about, this will be developed over 12 months, I highly doubt it. It will be longer, but I'm sure it'll be worth the wait. I'm super excited. I'll be popping back to this game repeatedly time after time. Let us know down in the comments what you think about Wreckfest 2 if you've picked it up too. Take care. Higher Plane Games is part of the Higher Plane Network, a completely independent media outlet supported by people like you. The goal is to create the best possible content that cultivates a richer indie scene for games as well as music and entertainment. To find out more and to get involved, visit patreon.com/Higher Plane Network. Your support makes all the difference, and in return you'll gain access to bonus content and downloads. Thank you for watching.